this week, Google finally, I think, given our discussions, came out guns blazing in the AI arms race. So there's a number of different reports about Google's moves in AI that have happened in the last week. And one of them in the New York Times, they report that Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, were called in to refine the company's AI strategy in response to threats like ChatGPT. And also, Microsoft has just formally announced, some more details about its multi-billion-dollar partnership with OpenAI. And, Larry and Sergey were not super involved with Google. So it's a big deal that they're being called in again. And according to the Times, Google now intends to launch more than 20 new AI powered products. They published a bunch of different research findings across computer vision, large language models, all these major areas of foundational AI. And they also intend to demonstrate a version of the search engine with chatbot features this year. Now, I don't think that means necessarily it will commercially roll out immediately, but we should be seeing some pretty strong responses from Google related to some of the innovations we've seen, like ChatGPT. So you also published a pretty popular LinkedIn post on this subject. And in it, you said, quote, "Here we go. Google would like to remind you who put much of the generative AI we see today in motion and lay the groundwork for what's to come." What did you mean by that? What's to come?
So Jeff Dean, if you're not familiar, is the senior fellow and senior vice president of Google Research and AI. So he is a major player in AI for the last decade plus, but often behind the scenes. People don't follow this stuff closely, may have never heard of Jeff Dean, but probably will. So Jeff is the guy who came out with the, I think, setting the stage for what was about to happen. So we record our podcast on Tuesdays. Last Wednesday, the day after our podcast, they put out a summary of kind of their history with AI and a look at where they were going to be going. So it was the first time where you actually saw Google say, without directly saying, "Hey, we're hearing what's going on, all this chatter about us being obsoleted and our search engine going away." And it was sort of a stake in the ground where they were very clear of like, what's happening right now doesn't even happen without us.
Hmm.
Here's everything we have done over the last decade, basically, to make this moment possible. And if you think that we don't have other stuff waiting, you're crazy. So, for example, the Transformers came out of Google in 2017. So the Transformers are what fundamentally enabled OpenAI to do what they're doing today with ChatGPT and GPT-3. So he goes through this extensive list of all the innovations, all the milestones in their research, and starts to lay out their plan for imagery or images, video, audio, and text, kind of the different modularities that'll be present within everything Google does. Sundar himself, the CEO of Alphabet Google, retweets that, shares that out. So you could start to see this was a concentrated PR effort right away. It was obvious that it's like, okay, they're going to start to take control of the narrative. They're not going to just release this stuff, but it's not, I don't think it's coincidental that the Time magazine article with Demis came out with DeepMind, where he was talking about Sparrow, their chat GPT like product.
Yep.
Then you have Jeff Dean doing this and saying, this is going to be a series. Here's the first in a series about our innovations in AI and where we're going. You have their earnings call in 9 days or so.
Yep.
So I think we are about to see not only a PR blitz from Google to start taking control of the narrative back a little bit. I assume that within Q1, you're going to start to see some of these 20 products that were talked about in the Times piece coming out. So I think, as we've talked about before, the $1 trillion question in 2023 is, what do these major players do? Like, we're going to see massive movements in AI, and we're going to see this one-upsmanship that's going to keep going on, because that was the 28th. And then you have the Sundar or Satya come out on yesterday, the 23rd, where they're like, yep, we're in multi-billion-dollar investment in OpenAI. So it's like, you're just like every week it's gonna be like whiplash. Who's making what crazy announcement? And then you mix in yesterday, you and I talked about this, Jan LeCun, who's the head of the AI research lab at Meta. And he does an interview where the headline is ChatGPT is not particularly innovative and nothing revolutionary, says
Hmm.
Meta's chief AI scientist. Now he tweeted I thought it was kind of funny. It said, the title is blunt, but the article conveys what I said on this Q&A about the progress of AI. ChatGPT and other large language models didn't come out of a vacuum and are the result of decades of contributions from various people, like Google was saying. No AI lab, and this is the key to me, no AI lab is significantly ahead of the others.
Hmm.
So whatever you're seeing from OpenAI, because they're more willing to put stuff out into the world, or Stability AI, or whoever it is, don't think that Meta and Microsoft on their own and Google and these other players don't have similar or better technology sitting behind their walls. And that's, again, we've been talking about this, been a recurring theme for the last 6 weeks on the podcast. We haven't seen anything yet. Like, whatever you think you understand about AI today, just wait. Like, it's going to get insane.
Yeah, and read between the lines here. If these people are talking about it with this tone and these contextual framings of their contributions, that's coming from somewhere. There's pressure. And you had mentioned Google's earnings call in 9 days. All of the other big tech companies also within the next 2 weeks have their earnings calls, go on their investor relations page. They have all the information about when to tune in. I guarantee you, things like ChatGPT have increased pressure on executives from shareholders and major people on the board, I would guess, about what are we doing with this? Because probably all those people are not always perfectly attuned as to the multi decades of research and context that, Facebook and Google have contributed to this field.
I guarantee you that. I mean, I've been talking to venture capitalists, friends within tech companies. I know for a fact that they're getting questioned by the boards and questioned by the executive teams of what's going on, what's our play with AI. And the challenge oftentimes there is like the board members and the stakeholders who are challenging them, they're just seeing all the buzz about ChatGPT.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
we doing with ChatGPT? It's like, that's not even the right question. What are we doing? What is our AI play? Like, what is our
Yeah.
roadmap for AI infusion into our business is the right question. And that's not even getting asked, but you're going to see stuff like what's happening at Google, where these companies are going to have to come out and not only take credit for what they've been doing, they're going to have to reinvest. Like, they're going to have to somehow figure out a way in this current environment to amplify their investment in AI, to refocus their energy. Like Meta, we've talked about.
Mm.
Meta is an AI company. They've gotten distracted by the metaverse, including changing their name to it. Um, but my belief is at the end of the day, Meta is an AI company with some of the most innovative AI researchers in the world
Yeah.
doing some stuff that the vast majority of people have no clue they're even working on. And at some point, that stuff's got to come to light and it has to become a bigger focus for them. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's like 5, 6 major players here. Google is certainly, I would say Google probably was in the lead.
Mm.
They may still be in the lead with the stuff we haven't seen yet. But, Meta, Microsoft, they weren't far behind Amazon. Um, so I think this year's lot's going to play out and you're going to see a lot of major announcements and we may have to go to that 2 times a week model to
Yeah.
keep up with what's about to happen.
Especially over the next couple weeks with these earnings calls. So it seems like it's pretty clear there's about to be or is currently an arms race going on. So, we don't know exactly how that will play out, but if I'm a business leader of any type of organization, what kinds of questions should I start asking about my strategy, my talent, my technology, given that we can reasonably assume some big things are coming down the line this year?
I mean, the first thing you need to be thinking about is who in your organization can figure this stuff out. If you're lucky enough to have a chief AI officer, or if you're a big enough company where you've got some AI talent, both the technical side and the business-minded AI talent, then great. You're probably in a really good place, but you're also probably a bit of an anomaly. There are very few businesses that I talk to. We talk to big and small companies, funded companies, private companies, public companies. I've talked to very few where I walked away thinking they got their shit figured out. Like they know what's going on. It's it's um it's a talent first question in my opinion. I think you have
Mm.
to have the right people in the room who can look at this stuff and try and figure out how do we build a smarter version of our company. And that's what our advice always is. Like, what does a smarter version of your business look like? And like let's pretend like a competitor was coming for your business. Like if you're Google and OpenAI is coming at you, how do you make every part of your business smarter? Where can AI help you in your marketing, sales, service, product, R&D, HR, finance, legal? Like, and you're not going to do it all at once, but you want to build this roadmap that says, okay, over the next 3 to 5 years, we're prioritizing product first if we're SaaS business, marketing, sales, service, ops. Like you kind of set your priorities, but you need to figure out how to infuse AI into the business and build a smarter version, or somebody else is going to do it for you and take your spot. But that starts with having the right people in the room to figure this out. And that's the hard part, honestly, right now. There aren't that many. Um, so like you and I, like we're building an emerging consulting practice for this exact purpose
Mm.
because people don't know where to go for answers. And so we're starting to talk with large organizations like, okay, how can we build these smarter entities? And so I think a lot of our work moving forward is going to be about building these next gen businesses. What does an AI emergent company look like? Because there aren't very many people with the answers out there right now. And I think even then, the trick is going to be staying current on it. Like you could put a roadmap in place today that says, here's the next 3 years, what our business needs to do. Here's the 10 AI projects we're going to run over these next 3 years. And then 3 months from now, Microsoft or Google or Meta could make some announcement that blows it all up. It's like, oh, okay, well, that just obsoleted 3 of our projects. Now what do we do? So it's gonna be this iterative and faster moving iteration of a continuous AI roadmap. And that to me is the only way to build a business moving forward. So like I've actually been working behind the scenes on a smarter version of our institute. Like what does this look like? How do we infuse AI across our business model? So almost as like building a roadmap as a beta for how we can do this for other organizations as well. But I think it's the only answer is you have to build an AI emergent company and you need the people in the room who know what that means and how to do it.